Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read S3 3170 Curious George Goes to the Hospital Part B. I'll take you to the playroom now, George, Nurse Carol said the next morning. And in the afternoon, your friend will come and take you home. The playroom was full of children. A lady was showing Betsy how to use finger paint. There were all sorts of things to play with. Even a puppet theater, and that was just the thing for George. He had four hands, so could handle four puppets at the same time. George gave a real puppet show with a dragon and a clown and a bear and a policeman. The children laughed and shouted, and even Betsy, for the first time, smiled a little. There was a TV set in the playroom and also a record player. George was curious. If he climbed on the record player and turned the switch, would it go around and round like a real merry-go-round? It did. It started slowly, then it went faster, faster, and whippy! George had lost his balance and was sailing through the air. Luckily, George landed on a soft cushion. The children cheered and Betsy smiled again. George was so funny. But then the play lady picked George up. "That's enough for now," she said. "You better take a nap before lunch. We have a big day ahead of us. The mayor is coming to visit the hospital today, and later on you will be going home, George." When George woke up, Steve was just taking his first steps. A nurse was helping him, and the children were watching. The go-kart was standing there empty. George was curious. He looked at it, then he climbed into it. Then he grabbed the wheels, and then, while nobody was looking, he wheeled the go-kart right out of the room. George could make the go-kart go very fast. This was fun. Down the hall he went. By now, the nurse had noticed that he was gone and came running after him. "George, George," she shouted. But George was too excited to listen. He wheeled around the corner and down the ramp to the floor below, where some men were busy pushing lunch carts, and a lot of doctors and nurses were showing the mayor around. George tried to stop, but it was too late. Wham! The go-kart landed right in the middle of everything. Lunch carts tumbled, spinach and scrambled eggs and strawberry jam were all over the floor. People fell over each other, and George was thrown out of the go-kart and landed right in the mayor's arms. "What a mess it was. You broke all my dishes," someone cried. "You ruined the go-kart," complained another. "What will the mayor think of it?" whispered someone else. And so it went. Suddenly, everybody looked up and listened. From above came happy laughter. There stood Betsy, laughing and laughing, and then the children joined in. Then the mayor started laughing, and finally everybody just laughed and laughed. Everybody, that is, except George. Betsy came running down the ramp, threw her arms around George, and kissed him. "Don't be sad, George. The whole thing was so funny. I never laughed so much in my life. I'm so glad you were in the hospital with me." Now the director of the hospital spoke. "I'm sorry this happened, Mr. Mayor," he said, "but I think we will just clean up the mess and be done with it. George," he went on, "you've made a terrible mess, but you also made a sad little Betsy happy again. That's more than any of us has done, and now I see a friend has just come to take you home. So goodbye, George, and take care of yourself." The children crowded around the windows, waving goodbye, when George and the man with the yellow hat were finally leaving the hospital. As the car was turning into the driveway, Nurse Carol came running after them. "Here's a little package with something that belongs to you, George," she called. "But don't open it before you are home." George was curious. Well, who would not be? The moment he reached home, he ripped the paper off, tore open the box, and there was a piece of the puzzle that had caused all the trouble. "How nice of the doctor to save it for us," said the man with the yellow hat. "And now We can finish the puzzle. The end.